They say life changes in a heartbeat, a whisper, a touch you never saw coming. Tuesday nights were routine, predictable. Dinner was always the same: grilled salmon, asparagus, a bottle of Pinot Grigio Richard insisted on, but barely touched. He was always somewhere else, his mind buzzing with deals, his eyes glued to his phone even at our mahogany dining table. Ethan, Richard's son, had been with us for a few months, a new element in our carefully constructed life. At 27, he was adrift, back home after his startup imploded. Richard saw it as responsibility, giving his son a launch pad. I felt the opposite, a storm brewing under the surface of polite smiles and forced dinners. The accidental brush happened mid-meal. My leg shifted under the table, a fleeting touch against Ethan's. Insignificant, really. But then he looked at me, his eyes intense, searching, and my breath hitched. I told myself it was nothing, a random moment, but it wasn't. That touch vibrated, lingered long after the plates were cleared, long after the Manhattan skyline outside our window faded to black. Something had shifted, a fault line cracking open. This is the story of how one touch unraveled everything I thought I knew about my life, my marriage, the razor's edge between right and wrong. Funny, isn't it? How full and empty can coexist. That's my marriage to Richard in a nutshell. Successful, stable, dependable, the whole Upper East Side package. But that stability had a price, a distance between us, a chasm no amount of time could bridge. 15 years ago, at a design conference, I was a freelance writer. He was a star architect. He swept me off my feet, painted a future where I wasn't just an observer. I thought I'd found a partner, someone to share the view from the top with. But Richard's world shrank to deadlines, clients, blueprints. I became a supporting player, so well cast I almost forgot who I was before Richard Sterling. Then Ethan arrived, tipping the fragile balance. 27, haunted by a failed tech venture Richard had bankrolled. I didn't know the details, just the fallout. Ethan, adrift. Richard, silently disappointed. "Give him time," Richard had said one evening, overlooking Central Park from our living room. "He's figuring things out." "Time fixes everything," I'd replied, sharper than intended. Richard's brow furrowed. "He's my son, Ava. He needs us." I nodded, biting back the retort. Ethan wasn't an easy presence. He existed mostly in his room, a shadow at meals, a ghost in the hallways. Interactions were polite, guarded, like we were both waiting for the other to blink. I tried. Fresh towels, his favorite coffee, small gestures lost in the city's noise. But sometimes, glimpses. Late evenings, piano music drifting from his room, his fingers dancing across the keys, filling the apartment with something too raw, too real. In those moments, a flicker. Something unnamed. The night it happened, it began like any other. Richard, late as usual. I made dinner, grilled salmon, asparagus, uncorked the Pinot Grigio. Ethan appeared as I set the table, hair tousled, like he'd just woken up. "Smells good," he murmured, his voice low. "Thanks," I said, managing a smile. Richard arrived, loosening his tie, the city clinging to him. "Sorry," he said, a quick kiss on my cheek. We sat down, a rare trinity these days, and ate in silence, broken only by cutlery and the muted buzz of Richard's phone. Midway through the meal, it happened. I shifted, stretching my legs under the table, and my foot brushed something warm. Ethan's leg. I froze, pulling back. "Sorry," I mumbled. "It's fine," Ethan said quickly, his voice calm, but his eyes locked on mine, dark and intense. It was a split second, but the air crackled. For the rest of dinner, I was hyper-aware of him. The way he moved, the faint scent of his cologne, the glances I caught when he thought I wasn't looking. After dinner, Richard vanished into his study, leaving me to clear the table. Ethan lingered in the kitchen, leaning against the granite countertop as I loaded the dishwasher. "Dinner was good," he said, softer than usual. "Thanks," I replied, not meeting his eyes. A pause, thick with unspoken words. I felt his gaze on me. When I finally turned, there was something in his expression that stole my breath. He looked away, cleared his throat. "Good night," he said, disappearing upstairs before I could respond. That night, in bed beside Richard, I couldn't shake the moment under the table. So small, so fleeting, yet it felt like a beginning. Imagining things, I told myself. Nothing. But deep down, I knew better. The days that followed were a dance of avoidance, stolen glances. Ethan and I circled each other, a current of tension humming beneath every interaction. I became acutely aware of his presence. Footsteps on the stairs, cologne in the hallway, his voice, lowered when he spoke to me. Magnified, impossible to ignore. Richard, oblivious, remained buried in work. Early mornings, late nights, too exhausted for more than a perfunctory "How was your day?" "You've been quiet," he remarked one evening on the couch. "Just tired," I forced a smile. He nodded, already lost in emails. A few nights later, sleepless, I went to the kitchen for water. Footsteps behind me. "Can't sleep?" Ethan's voice low. He stood in the doorway, hair disheveled, expression unreadable. "Something like that," I replied. He stepped closer, leaning against the counter. "Same here." Silence. Thick, heavy with what wasn't said. "About the other night," Ethan began, his voice trailing off. "It was nothing," I said quickly, my heart racing. "Was it?" he asked, his eyes locking onto mine. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. After that kitchen encounter, the tension became unbearable. Ethan and I avoided direct acknowledgement, but it simmered, unspoken, in every breath. All in my head, I tried to convince myself. Restless mind, lonely heart. But I knew better. Saturday morning, unseasonably warm. Richard left early for a site visit. Ethan and I, alone. I stayed in my room, avoiding the inevitable awkwardness. Hunger won. Downstairs for breakfast. Ethan was already there at the island, coffee, laptop. He looked up as I entered, expression unreadable. "Morning," he said, low. "Morning," I replied, too bright. At the stove, determined to keep it brief. But minutes ticked by, his gaze on me, heavy. "Eggs?" I asked, too brightly. "Sure," he said, setting down his mug. Silence stretched, punctuated by the sizzle of eggs. Tension thickened, pressing down. As we ate, small talk, plans for the day. Clipped sentences, his usual aloofness amplified. Finally, he set down his fork, looked at me, serious. "Ava," he began, soft but steady, "can we talk about what's been happening?" Froze. Breath caught. "Nothing's happening," I said too quickly, words tumbling out, his brow furrowed, frustration flickering. "You keep saying that, but it's not true. We both know it." "Ethan, I'm not trying to make this harder," he interrupted, gentler now. "But I can't keep pretending." I stared, heart pounding. "It was an accident," I said, voice trembling. "That's all it was." He shook his head, gaze unwavering. "It wasn't just the touch, Ava. It's everything since then. The way we avoid each other. The way you look at me." I opened my mouth to argue, but words failed me. Later, I left the apartment. Park, my refuge. Quiet place to think. Didn't expect Ethan to follow. Bench, near the pond, staring at the water. "Mind if I join you?" His voice. Startled, I looked up. Ethan, hands in pockets. "Sure," I said, scooting over. Sat beside me, shoulder brushing mine. Silence, watching ducks glide. "This used to be my favorite spot," Ethan said, breaking the silence. "Really?" He nodded. "When I was a kid, Mom used to bring me here. Hours by the pond, feeding ducks, talking." Wistfulness in his voice, vulnerability I hadn't seen. "I miss her," he said quietly. Pang of sympathy, chest tightening. "She'd be proud of you," I said. Bitter laugh, shaking his head. "Doubt that." "I don't," I insisted. Smart, talented, resilient. She'd see that. He turned, eyes softening. "You're the only one who thinks so." Sun setting. Park in gold and pink. I stood, brushing hands. "We should head back." Ethan nodded. As I turned, he reached for my hand, stopping me. "Ava," he said, low. I turned back, heart pounding. "Thank you," he said, gaze holding mine, "for being there, for seeing me." Before I could speak, he let go, his touch lingering even after he stepped away. Sleepless night. Tossing, turning, mind racing with Ethan, the park, midnight, downstairs for water, cool air to clear my head. Ethan on the couch, whiskey. "Can't sleep," his voice, low, rough. "No," I admitted, sitting beside him. Silence. Ticking clock on the wall. "Park," Ethan said, finally, barely a whisper. I turned, chest tightening. "Ethan, I know it's wrong," he rushed out. "I know we shouldn't, but I can't stop feeling this way." Breath caught. Fear, guilt, longing, colliding. "Ethan, we can't," I said, voice trembling. "It's not right." "Why not?" he asked, eyes searching. "Why can't we just be honest about what we feel?" No answer. He leaned closer, gaze flickering to my lips, back to my eyes. "Ava," he whispered, voice breaking. Then, before I could stop him or myself, I closed the distance. Kiss. Brief, tentative, culmination of unspoken words, stolen glances, moments leading here. When it ended, pulled back, breathless, stunned. "I'm sorry," I said quickly, standing, moving away. "Don't be," he said softly, eyes following me, but I was. Sorry for everything. The kiss, the feelings, the line we'd crossed. Days after, the apartment a trap. Every corner weighed down. Facade of normalcy, tightrope over a chasm. Ethan and I, silent, not directly acknowledging, but the air thick, tension growing. Richard, oblivious, buried in work. Leave early, come home late, office, blueprints, spreadsheets. Even his absence wasn't enough to ease the guilt. Avoid Ethan, long walks, library, pretense of needing a change of scenery. But no distance escaped my thoughts. The memory of that night. Returning from exile one afternoon, Ethan in the kitchen, chopping vegetables. "You've been out a lot," he said, not looking up. "Just needed air," I replied, forcing casualness, glance, unreadable expression. "You don't have to avoid me." "I'm not avoiding you." Too quickly. Smirk, setting down the knife. "Right." Cheeks flushed, turned to leave. "Ava," his voice, soft. The way he said my name, heart ached, paused, back to him. "I'm not sorry about what happened," he said. "Are you?" No answer. Walked away, chest tightening, inevitable. Richard would notice. "You've been quiet," he remarked one dinner, shrugged, eyes on my plate. "Just tired." Nodded, but gaze lingered longer than usual. Later, getting ready for bed, doorway, Richard. "Is everything okay?" Cautious tone. "Of course," I forced a smile. Hesitation, searching eyes. "You'd tell me if something was wrong, wouldn't you?" "Of course," steady voice despite the storm inside. Nodded slowly, doubt flickering. One night, sleepless, tea, quiet house, oppressive stillness. Pouring water, footsteps, Ethan, doorway, unreadable. "Can't sleep?" Low voice. Shook my head, heart pounding. Stepped into the kitchen, presence filling the space. Hard to breathe. "Ava," he began, soft but firm. "We can't keep pretending." Set down teapot, hands trembling. "Ethan, please, no." Stepping closer. "I need to say this." Pause, searching eyes. "I care about you more than I should. I know it's complicated, but I can't ignore what I feel." Tidal wave of words. Speechless. "Ethan, this isn't right," I said finally, voice trembling. "Maybe not," he replied, "but it's real." Next day, Margaret, coffee. One of the few constants. Sharp wit, no-nonsense attitude, comfort and frustration. "Distracted," she said, eyeing me over her cup. "Just a lot on my mind," I replied, stirring tea. Raised eyebrow. "Anything you want to talk about?" "No." Too quickly. Eyes narrowed, piercing gaze. Terrible liar. Nervous laugh, shaking my head. "Nothing, really." Leaned back, skeptical. "Whatever it is, be careful. Secrets have a way of coming out." Her words lingered. Richard. Family gathering. Backyard barbecue, us, colleagues. Day preparing food, nerves on edge. Hosting, undercurrent of tension. Guests arrived. Plastered smile, hostess mode, but something about to go wrong. End of evening, guests gone, Richard in kitchen, cleaning, Ethan and I outside, plates, reached for a plate, hand brushed his. Jolt. "Ava," softly, barely a whisper. Froze, heart pounding. Richard stepped outside, eyes narrowing. "What's going on here?" Sharp tone. "Nothing," I said quickly, stepping back. Gaze flicked between us, suspicion. "You've been acting strange lately." Tight voice. "Both of you." "Richard, you're imagining things," I said, steady voice failing. "Am I?" Shot back, eyes narrowing, deafening silence. That night, awake, Richard's suspicion pressing down. Inevitable. Truth coming out. Ethan too on edge. Confidence gone, quiet tension. Collision course. No stopping it. Secrets grow heavier. Stones in pockets, deep water. Every step harder, every breath tighter. Thought I could carry mine forever. But truth surfaces. Kiss with Ethan, a splinter. Festered in quiet moments. Thoughts invaded. Replayed endlessly. His lips, his hand, my name whispered like it meant something. But what haunted me most? His eyes afterward. Hope, longing, something else. Had to end. Vowed that night. Never again. But the more I distanced myself, the closer we seemed to drift. Days after barbecue, kitchen, early morning. Coffee pot sputtering. Richard gone. Relief. Ethan walked in, minutes later. Hair mussed. Gray t-shirt, sweatpants, casual but impossible to look away. Morning, thick with sleep. Morning, I replied, eyes on coffee pot. Silence, palpable tension. Ava, finally, soft voice, turned to face him, chest tightening. I can't keep doing this, quiet but firm tone, pretending. Nothing's wrong, too quickly, conviction lacking. Stepped closer, gaze never leaving mine. You don't believe that any more than I do. Opened my mouth, words caught. Afternoon walk, park, refuge, pretend briefly life wasn't unraveling. Bench, pond, ducks, spring air, warm, scent of flowers. Lost in thought. Didn't hear Ethan approach. Mind if I join you? Looked up, startled. Sure, scooting over, sat beside me, shoulder brushing. Silence, unspoken words. Thinking, he said finally, low voice. About? I asked, already knowing. Us. Gaze on pond. About what happened. Chest tightening, weight of words. Can't happen again. Trembling voice. Why not? Turning to face me. Because it's wrong. Hollow words. Shook his head, frustration, sadness. Do you really believe that? Yes. Wavering voice. Reached for my hand. Jolt. Ava, I care about you more than I should, and I think you feel the same. Pulled my hand away, tears stinging. Ethan, please don't. Evening. Richard home earlier. Reminder of the life I was supposed to be living. Kiss on cheek. Perfunctory. Dinner. Distracted tone. Grilled salmon. Forced smile. Nodded. Scrolling phone. As we ate, watching him, searching for the man I married. Stranger now. Attention always elsewhere. Did he even notice the distance? Did he care? 2 nights later, everything broke. Simple question. Richard, late again, cleaning up after dinner. He walked in, tense. We need to talk, clipped tone. About? Churning stomach. About you and Ethan, narrowing eyes. Froze, heart pounding. About us? Don't play dumb, Ava, he snapped. I've seen the way he looks at you, the way you've been acting. Something's going on. Ridiculous. Too quickly, voice shaking. Am I? Shot back, stepping closer. Because it doesn't feel that way. Argument escalated, accusations sharper. Do you even love me anymore? Demanded, voice breaking, stared, chest tightening. Don't, he cut me off. Don't lie to me. Silence. Weight of words. I don't know. Finally, barely a whisper. Face fell. Anger drained, replaced. Something I couldn't place. Richard left that night. Door slammed. Didn't try to stop him. Ethan found me on couch, face in hands. He knows. Trembling voice. Sat beside me, hand on shoulder. What happens now? Soft voice. I don't know, I admitted, but it's not going to be easy. Sleepless night. Replaying argument. Richard's words echoing. Do you even love me anymore? Truth was, I didn't know. Ever had? Convinced myself because it was easier. Life unraveling, no going back, lived with a secret too long, shaped me. Whispered in silences, stood between me and the man who thought he knew me. Ethan beside me on the couch, should have been comfort. Reminder of the line crossed. Line I wasn't sure we could ever come back from. Morning, empty apartment, Richard gone, Ethan gone. Oppressive silence, heavy blanket. Morning routine, showering, coffee, tidying, everything off. Someone else's life. Checking phone, message from Richard. Dark screen, wanted to call, explain, where to start. What to say that wouldn't make it worse. Late afternoon, Ethan came home. Front door, footsteps. Didn't move from couch. Ava, softly, stepping into room. Turned to face him, tightening chest. I think I should leave. Steady voice tinged with sadness. What? Whisper. This isn't fair to you or to Richard, running hand through hair. Staying here thought it would help me figure things out, just made everything more complicated. You don't have to leave. Quickly, heart pounding. Yes, I do. Unwavering gaze. Only way any of us can move forward. Tears pricked, blinked them away. Where will you go? Don't know, admitted. But I'll figure it out. Richard home that evening. Hard, unreadable expression. Barely looked at me. Set bag down, kitchen. Did you eat? Hesitantly, following. I'm fine, curtly, pouring water, suffocating silence, wanted to say something, bridge the chasm, didn't know where to start. Finally, set down glass, turned to face me. Do you love him? Quiet, pained voice. Caught off guard. Couldn't breathe. Richard, Words caught. Nodded. Expression tightening. That's what I thought. Next day, Ethan packed. Watched from doorway. Clothes into duffel bag. Aching chest. Finished. Turned to face me. Soft but resolute expression. I'll miss you, simply. Nodded, unable to speak. Stepped closer. Hand brushed mine. Pulled away. Take care of yourself, whisper. Then gone. Ethan gone. Apartment emptier. Richard and I, strangers, bare minimum of words. Unbearable tension, neither willing or able to address it. Evening, living room, silence. Richard spoke. I can't do this anymore. Quiet but firm. Looked at him, tightening chest. What do you mean? Sigh, running hand through hair. This marriage, whatever we've been pretending it is, it's over, Ava. Words hit like a blow. Deep down, knew he was right. Divorce finalized 3 months later. Amicable, as far as divorces go. Painful. Signing papers, closing door. Part of my life I wasn't ready to let go of, even if it had been falling apart for years. Moved downtown. Small apartment. Mine. Sense of freedom. Weeks after divorce. Letter. Unmistakable handwriting. Heart skipped a beat. Dear Ava, hope this finds you well. Thinking about you a lot. Leaving was hardest thing. Right decision. Thank you. Seeing me when no one else did, believing in me, gave me purpose. Doing better, working on something you'd be proud of. Hope you find happiness, Ava. You deserve it. Always, Ethan. Tears blurred vision. Folded letter, clutching it. Looking back, see how it unraveled. Choices made, lines crossed, longing, pain. Didn't understand then. Learned to forgive myself, even if others never will. Life isn't perfect, neither are we. Sometimes chaos, clarity, strength to start over.